Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Matt, that's great. And Matt,
Mm-hmm.
it's great to be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to be here because I'll be honest with you, Matt.
Uh-huh.
I thought that we would have a lighter episode this week, but then I remembered our special power here on the Mistake Zone. And I feel like a lot of podcasts in general is the idea of going on a tangent on topics that barely relate to the podcast in question. But luckily for us, Matt, we live in the Mistake Zone. And even though this is a mainly video game adjacent podcast with your fair share of anime adjacent and manga adjacent, things that we share, sometimes, Matt, mistakes come in all shapes and sizes and situations. So, Matt, I've been here at Mistake Zone HQ for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
And since I relocated here, I have been using, let's just say, not the greatest chair for the past 2 years. I didn't have a proper office chair. I don't have a multicolored gaming chair, nor one that is branded by KDA, as much as I would like to have one of those. But essentially, I was using a typical, let's just say a general chair with barely any padding and a obus form, back support cushion or whatever. And I thought, wow, I've been meaning to buy a chair for the longest time. But Matt, sometimes when you think, okay, I'll wait for a sale. Oh, I'll wait for the next sale. I'll wait for Black Friday. Soon that wait has become 2 years and you realize, man, I should probably just buy at least a obus form, seat pad and lumbar support. But when you look those up, you're looking at what, around 150, 175. So I thought, okay, I might as well just bite the bullet, go on Marketplace, because Matt, if there's one thing that the pandemic did was unfortunately shut down a lot of office startups. So there are a bunch of chairs on Marketplace. And I thought, oh, maybe there is a, office startup. Maybe they're clearing house. Maybe they got a little too spend heavy. Maybe Wallet Coon for that company took some hits and they bought everyone Herman Miller chairs. And now they're closed down. And this is my chance to buy something. So I go on Marketplace and I find a guy selling some Herman Miller chairs. And I thought, okay, the price seems pretty reasonable for use. And it's the same story, Matt. Hey, office shut down. They're trying to get rid of all their office supplies, desks, whatnot. Here are some ergonomic chairs.
The classic.
And I thought, okay, classic, great. I'm going to pick up one of those chairs. So he tells me, okay, meet me here between 5:30 and 6. And Matt, when he gave me the address, he put the address, and then in brackets beside it, it says Old Home Hardware, which is, what's it called? Like a Home Depot or Rona, one of those home do-it-yourselves. Home hardware, essentially. One of those shops, Matt. I'm not a handyman, nor do I claim to be. So I remember Googling the address and I thought, oh, Old Home Hardware, that just means it's been here for a while. Matt Googled the address. First thing that comes out, Home Hardware closed down permanently. And I thought, okay, this man wants me to drive half an hour to the south part of town to a abandoned Home Hardware.
Yep.
Matt, What's the worst that could go wrong? You know what I mean?
Jared, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you went.
So, Matt,
Uh huh.
we drive the half an
Uh
hour.
huh.
Normally, this trip would take, I don't know, 18 minutes, but 5:30, Matt. This is prime time, rush hour. Everyone's leaving work and whatnot.
Oh, I thought you meant 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, Matt, I'm not going at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the evening,
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt,
Mm-hmm.
we get to the abandoned home hardware. And Matt,
Yeah.
abandoned as hell.
Uh huh.
It's your typical grass is growing, like overgrown, a bunch of like what seem to be abandoned cars. And, we get there, and luckily, there's also a pair of college girls also there. I'm assuming buying an office chair as well,
Uh
because
huh.
I guess where Mistake Zone HQ is, this is primarily a college town.
Yeah.
Anyway, I text the guy because I see a white truck in the driveway or whatever in the parking lot. And I text the guy and say, "Hey, is that you in the white truck?" And he said, "Yeah, come on to the right side of the store. The door's open."
Jared, did this person break into the store?
So we park. We go to the right side of this abandoned home hardware, which would essentially be the warehouse storage area. And we look inside the open door, and it's an unfinished hallway leading into the storage room. And we look at the college girls, and they ask, "So you're buying a chair too, right?" And we said, "Yup."
Oh man.
And
Uh huh.
that
Jared.
we go down this sketchy, unfinished hallway into the storage area of this abandoned home hardware. And when we get to the storage, the warehouse
Uh huh.
essentially, let's say 1/4 of the storage space is top to bottom, different office chairs stacked onto one another. And in the another corner, there's just a bunch of boxed, unassembled office chairs. And kind of in the middle, that's where he displays all the different high-end ergonomic chairs that you can try out or you can pick up. And we meet the seller in question. Dude is early 20s, saying that his side hustle is essentially, the situation of buying a bunch of different office chairs from places that are closing down, bringing them from Toronto to over here, selling them, and hopefully making money. And Matt, this dude seems super uninterested in all our random questions. My partner ended up inquiring about her own Herman Miller, and bless her heart, Matt, she is into haggling and negotiating and trying to lowball. Matt, that's not me. I'll pay the sticker price. I'm
same.
Hank Hill from that episode of King of the Hill. And man, when she was trying to, lowball, he was so uninterested in us, Matt. So we ended up getting our 2 chairs. And when we were loading it into the car, 2 more cars came up, one couple, one other guy. And I feel like when you see 2 people with Herman Miller chairs trying to load them in the car, that eases up how sketchy this whole
Oh
thing
yeah,
is.
for sure.
Right?
Jaren, if I was in your position, I would not have a new chair.
Matt, safe to say, I have a new chair, and I don't know where I'm supposed to put the lumbar support control in the back because I don't know how any of this works. But at least my only regret is that when I was looking up the instructions, this is kind of like an older chair model, which I don't think you can buy anymore,
Okay.
from like 2016 or something. And apparently there's an add-on for a headrest, which I kind of want to find a equivalent or another headrest because Matt, my posture, not great. And I kind of want the headrest just so I can lean back and know that, okay, at least I'm of a better posture than before because Matt, I'm pretty ugly when I game. I'm pretty ugly when I'm reading manga on my PC or watching anime. And luckily, still here, Matt.
Still here.
Still here with a chair and hopefully better posture than before. But that's not all, Matt.
Uh-huh.
So we're driving with our new chairs going to Loblaws, which is kind of a it's a supermarket, but would you say Loblaws, at least for us in Ontario, is kind of in the higher tier of supermarkets?
Yeah, I'd say that.
And basically, you know me, Matt. This is a household. Mistake Zone HQ loves trying to combo PC Optimum points and going to the hot food section and getting whatever is 50% off. So we get to Loblaws and we notice that there's a bunch of people. So our Loblaws is weird because it kind of gates. You have to enter through like some gates to get to the entrance and then the cart corral.
Yeah.
And they were blocking off the entrance to the store. They were trying to get us to go through the exit because we look in the cart corral and that bunch of glass scattered all over the cart corral.
Well,
And we look up, someone threw a rock at the window of the cart corral. And the Loblaws employees are freaking out. And they're like, okay, guys, you have to go through the exit, just get into the store. Don't go into the cart area. There's glass there. So, we're being funneled in through the exit. We're walking past people who are like, oh, why is everyone walking to the exit? And then, just going to the parking lot. And right when I feel like with a lot of supermarkets in general, after you check out, you get that hallway or that row of, extra services, whether it be like a wine store, a laundry or dry cleaning, a cell phone place, a PC bank, that general area, right, Matt? And we're walking past the dry cleaner area, and Matt, another rock gets thrown at the window. The clothes hanging kind of block all the glass, and there's glass kind of at our feet right now.
Yeah.
And we're just like trying to scurry like into the store, and it's like, oh, do we leave? Oh, what if that guy's out there? So, someone is legit throwing rocks at this Loblaws, and we're getting spooked. And, we see managers darting back and forth. We hear sirens because cops are coming. And yeah, so the cops eventually get there, get the guy. When we, did our rounds, got our 6 cases of strawberry calamansi sparkling water because Matt,
nice.
one, I love that flavor. 2, that got us hella points. We see a bunch of cop cars trying to investigate the area. We counted, Matt, 4 windows broken.
Damn.
By rocks. It's wild out there, Matt. It's wild out there. Luckily, nothing happened to our cars. I think it was generally safe for at least the pedestrians. It seemed to be an attack on the Loblaws itself. And Matt, spooky. Very spooky. Matt, have you ever been in a situation where you've witnessed rocks being thrown at glass?
I don't think I've ever been in a situation like that. And honestly, I feel like if I was, I would honestly just walk in the other direction.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if someone is actively outside throwing rocks at a store, I don't think the play is to leave the store.
Oh, I would go deeper into the store, I guess, is what I would do. Yeah.
But that was what we were doing. And it was kind of wild because while this is happening, we're still like looking outside too, because we were kind of, in front of the cash registers, and we just see people like loading their cars. So I guess they weren't, at least fortunately, no people were targeted. But yeah, that was our crazy day full of sketchy abandoned home hardwares and a situation at a grocery store. But Matt, I have another tangent for you.
Okay.
This is semi-related to games. Matt,
Okay.
Are you into casinos?
I am not, Jaren. I know that once I'm like very gambling averse, but when I do get into gambling, I feel like I go too far when I gamble.
Oh, Matt, are you one of those people? When was the last time you've been in a casino?
I think it's honestly been like over a decade. Like, Jaren, this is why you don't play gacha games, because the second I drop a penny into that game, I have the mentality of, I mean, I already spent money on it. I might as well keep going.
Right. Matt, it's so wild just because we went with like a few friends the other night to a nearby casino. And this isn't a big like the Niagara Falls area, this is kind of just like a smaller casino. And Matt, just seeing how fast money goes. One,
Yeah.
the dangerous part is I'm seeing, our mutuals at the Hold'em table, and money goes fast.
Yep.
Money goes real fast. And I'm thinking, wow, they just lost, X amount of dollars. But if I were to put that into Nikkei in a month, because it's the 1 year anniversary and there's probably going to be a limited unit. Same thing, right? Same thing, Matt. So seeing our mutuals kind of lose money gets the gears turning, thinking, oh, I can put this into gacha. That's kind of like gambling, but at least I'm getting something out of it, in theory.
In theory.
But one of the mutuals we went with, I love the hype guy in a group where, he's just there to hang out. And he said, you know what, guys, scared money don't make money. Let's get it. And, he goes around to the machines, comes back. It's like, what do you guys want to drink? Drinks on me, pulls out, the slip, won $500 at a slot machine.
Damn.
We meet up with him later. He came back. It's like, you guys want another drink? It's like, oh, is this part of your winnings? It's like, new winnings. Pulls out another slip, $300, Matt.
What?
And he's in his like winning high where he's like, okay, guys, I'm going to buy all of us a hand at blackjack. The blackjack table is empty. Let's go play a hand of blackjack. Come on, we all have to go. Matt? Blackjack, in theory, is my game. Is blackjack your game, Matt? Or
Of competitive casino games, blackjack is probably the one I would go to, yeah.
Yeah. So, Matt, I've played some Normally, when I play blackjack at a casino, few and far between, it's the digital one.
Okay.
And this is the first time we did a live table. And Matt, you know me. I'm an Akko Taco. Now, put me in a casino setting, and the dealer, she looked so unimpressed. Matt, first mistake, put my phone on the table. That's a no-go. Got cursed out for that. And I thought, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
And Matt, as someone who plays virtual blackjack a lot, I don't have the hand motion, so she had to keep reminding me, no, you have to do this to hit, you have to do this to pass, and that felt real bad.
Oh, man, you don't know the meta.
I lost my hand. I don't know the meta. Of the the five of us, I was the first one out, and that also felt bad. Yeah. And that's why I don't go to casinos. And I know for this casino in particular, there was a free drink bar. I should have just went off
the
of
drink bar,
Jared.
Jared. The drink bar.
I let Bochi down, Matt. I let Bochi down, and that was my week this week, Matt.
Oh,
that
man.
was my week. Shout out to our friends who got married as well. Unfortunately, when you go through the big, Matt. Not necessarily. I'm the plus one in this situation. I know people there, but I'm essentially the plus one. But when we were going through the wedding big group album,
Yeah.
just me there. There's a picture of just me alone in a corner yawning. Felt
Why would they take a picture of that? Oh, man.
That was my week, Matt.
They got you,
That
Jared.
was my week.
Oh, man.
Matt, how was your week? Any tangents you got to get off your chest?
Jared.
Sorry, I took up 20 minutes of our video game anime adjacent podcast to tell you about my sad life.
Jaren, I had to buy a new mouse pad because I was eating at my desk and I spilled a bowl of pho on my old one.
Oh, no. Matt, what kind of mouse pad? Wait, first, we got to give our condolences. What mouse pad has bit the dust and went out in a wave of pho?
It was my kind of like desk mat, the full desk mat that was it's just a plain black desk mat, but I don't know. I tried getting the pho out, but like I think the fat from the soup really messed that thing up, so I ended up having to buy a new one. Right.
Matt, right now I have a big cork desk mat, but I think I told you on the Mistake Zone a few episodes ago, I had that big Persona 4 desk mat just upstairs on my old computer that I only use to get like retrieve files from, but I should really bring that over here, Matt. But now that now that you need a new hotness for your battleship, essentially, Matt, what are you looking
Oh,
for?
Jaren, I already bought a replacement, Jaren.
Oh,
I have to have the mouse pad so I can, play Cyberpunk.
for sure, for sure. Is it any design on it, or is it just a plain Jane one?
No, it's just a plain one. I don't like having designs on stuff, like on like table.
Right.
I kind of like the kind of plain, solid black mouse pad. It's an even bigger one than before, actually. This is a 31.5 by like 15-inch mouse pad. So it's like a pretty like
Okay.
generously big one, and it's serving my desk well right now, and it feels really nice.
Okay. That's good. Matt, what do you think of using, we're in a big trading card game boom.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of trading card games going on right now at any given moment. What do you think of using the playmats as a desk mat?
I don't know if I would ever want to do that just from a price perspective. Because I have a desk size board game mat that's kind of like the same material as you'd expect for a kind of like premium trading card game mat. And I feel like it would be very nice. It would be very nice feeling, but I don't know. That price point is something I don't think I'd want to, risk on. I mean, I guess for me, risk on a desk mat because I know I'm going to mess it up or make a mess at my desk.
Right.
So this $20
Yeah.
one is about where I top out.
That's okay. Matt, you're being price conscious, and that's good. But on the other end of being price conscious, it's beating up Wallet Coon. Matt, right now, Wonderfest 2023 Shanghai is happening, and the good people at Good Smile are announcing upcoming figures from the Good Smile family, and that
Yes.
can I run by some of the announcements? These announcements are ongoing right now, but I have a few here that I believe are of interest to us, and I'm just gonna rattle them out, and I want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
If you're surprised that these are getting the figure treatment. So Matt, from JJK, we have Nendoroid of Toji Fushiguro, Goro or whatever. Matt, are you surprised he's getting a Nendoroid?
I'm not surprised he's getting a Nendo. Like that's a pretty popular character.
Okay. As someone who, Matt, I still haven't watched JJK. I tell people I've watched JJK, but I still haven't. One of these days, Matt. One of these days. However, we have a few more Nendos being announced, Matt.
Okay.
From Oshinoko, we have Kana Arima and Aqua.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, Ruby already
From-
has a Nendo, right?
I don't think so, to be honest.
I'm surprised that Kana would get one before Ruby.
Okay, Matt. Let's look this up because we need to fact check on the mistake zone. Nendoroid Oshi no Ko. I'm good at googling, Matt. I'm good at googling. So far, I does have a Pop-Up Parade figure that I'm really considering buying. It's a really nice one, but I'm not seeing that many Oshinoko Nendoroids being announced. Weird, Matt. Weird. But from the Q Set Plus series, maybe on brand for this episode, Matt.
Okay.
But we do have a David and Lucy to the Moon figure.
That's a nice one.
I think this is a nice looking figure. Not necessarily something I would get personally, but because Matt, hate to admit it, still haven't purchased that Lucy Nendoroid.
So, Jared, I have a
or the
question.
Rebecca Nendoroid. Yes.
They are sitting on like a kind of like bench or a rock or something. Can they come off of that, or I don't? Is this like a full like set thing?
I think it looks like a full set. This is the To the Moon thing, so it looks
Oh,
like...
I guess it's the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to sit, and there's probably going to be a nice backdrop on it, because I know Lucy's Nendoroid comes with a moon backdrop, which is pretty nice.
Nice.
A Hatsune Miku figure that looks really cool was also an Matt. The Miku figures are so nice, but so expensive. But Matt, for all the Like a Dragon Yakuza fans, we have three Nendo announcements. We have Kiryu, Majima, and Kusaga. I'm surprised that they're only getting Nendoroids now. But Matt, do you know about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and the new Jade and Yuki Nendo?
What? Wait.
Matt,
Uh-huh.
So Yu-Gi-Oh! Means a lot to our friendship just because I feel like that's the basis of why we're friends.
That's how
in
we
general.
met. Yeah.
I do not know anything about the GX series, and all I know about this dude is he has a dual disc and a Karibo is floating near him. I don't even know if is the Karibo with wings like named something else?
Isn't it just winged Karibo?
Right. I don't know. I don't know. But this man's has a dual disc, and that looks like an accessory, Matt. I'm hoping you can get the dual disc accessory separately, and I'm just going to put dual discs on all my Nendoroids.
Nice.
That'd be really good.
Nice.
Another announcement. Matt. A new Nendo announcement from the Future Diaries. You know, we have Yuno Gasai. She had a Pop-Up Parade figure announced a few weeks ago. A few months ago. Matt, not safe. Wagyu, not safe. Buying both those Yuno figures. We also have a figure from Nikkei. We have Modernia or whatever her name is. Matt, I like me a good anime figure, but at the same time, I feel like I'm too. It's that sunk cost fallacy that I'm too invested in Nendoroids, where I feel like I can only buy Nendoroids now. You know what I mean?
No,
Is
I feel
weird,
that.
Matt?
I feel that.
It's probably weird.
I've only invested in master grade Gundams, so I feel like I can only buy Gundams at that scale.
Man, Matt. Another Nendo announced from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. We have Kobayashi. Good Nendoroid. I like Kobayashi.
Jaren, I should watch that anime.
It's a good anime. I like it. One of the few second seasons of anime that I've watched as well. We have a Pop-Up Parade of Mai from King of Fighters. We have a Nendo of Leon S. Kennedy from Resident Evil 4. And, a bunch of Azur Lane announcements just now that I don't know anything about Azur Lane. But, Matt, I do know that figure, Matt. I love me some and I haven't looked into it, but the fact that she's getting a Nendo and a Pop-Up Parade figure, I need to look into if they're either rebooting this or re-releasing it at some point.
I'm surprised she didn't have one already, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that she's now getting one in 2023. But speaking about it, the hypothetical of if the Future Diary of Myra Nikki is coming back, which we don't know. I personally don't know. I just know figures are coming out. Matt, fall season 2023 is upon us. I feel like we were doing the summer taste test just a week or two ago, and it's already fall. I know you're hard at work to making a video for our fall preview, but there's one anime debuting, I believe it's tomorrow at the time of our recording on October 2nd. It's I'm in Love with the Villainess, which is a Yuri manga that I have enjoyed. Currently ongoing, really like the chapters, but while you prepare these anime previews, Matt, where you see a anime of something that you possibly have read before or maybe it's ongoing, you're maybe currently reading, how likely are you going to check out that anime? Or since you're already invested in the manga, are you less inclined to check it out if you're currently reading it or if you've read it previously?
When I see a new anime based on a manga that I'm already reading, I usually always check out the first episode, just to see like what's up. And then I will watch it for like scenes that I want to see. So I won't like necessarily follow it on a week to week basis, but I'll be like, oh,
Right.
around now I would expect him to be at like this part of the story. I'm gonna go in, see where like the latest episode is at, and then see how they did like this scene that I particularly enjoy.
Right. I feel like the last time this happened to me was with Quintessential Quintuplets or QQ
Mm-hmm.
season 2. And there was only one scene I wanted to watch, Matt. That was when Ichiko was exposed for pretending to be Miku and she had her heart broken. Matt
Mm-hmm.
had to watch that,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't watch anything else of that season. But
Uh-huh.
as I said, Matt, you're currently working on the fall preview of the anime season 2023, which all our friends can view on our YouTube channel, I
Yeah,
believe.
I would expect it to be out by the time this episode airs.
Okay,
Hopefully.
so
Hopefully.
you can go on YouTube, search the Mistake Zone, uh, or we can just link it on the blog as well. Matt, I should be linking this on the blog. I apologize. I'm going to start linking these on the blog as well.
Okay.
My bad, Matt. My bad. But as you work on this video, can you give a taste of what's one anime in particular that you're looking forward to this season?
Jaren, I think one anime that I really want people to watch, especially because, to my surprise, this weekend it actually just dropped 4 episodes at once.
Oh, okay.
It is Frieren: A Journey's End. Believe that's the English title. And I think I've talked about this series on the show before, Jaren. It is about a kind of like post story after a party has defeated like the demon lord, and it is about an elf girl who
Okay.
I guess has a very kind of like elves normally have a very long lifespan, and it's about her kind of learning about the frailty of life, I guess, because
Right.
it basically is kind of covering the first person that she kind of made a connection with dying, and her kind of like learning how to process those emotions.
Matt,
Uh-huh.
I feel like this is a not necessarily a trope, but a story beat that is really explored a lot in anime and manga and kind of media in general. And I think that's one of my favorite storylines or story beats to kind of explore with a character, just this notion of, hey, I live a lot longer than you, and how do I process that? How do I move on from that? And I know with Demon Daughter, shout out to 2019.
Uh-huh.
I think we always well, at least I always fantasize, what would Latina be when she was older? How would she kind of process the world when her father figure, unfortunately passes, and then she's still at a younger age? And I think those coming of age storylines are really intriguing, and depending on how well it's been written, can be really engaging as well. So, has this been a series you followed the manga as well, or?
Yeah. I followed the manga for this as well, and I don't know. I think it's a very nice story. Like it does remind me a lot of kind of the parts I liked of 2 Year Eternity, when it would
Oh, okay.
really kind of more so be about like, hey, what has happened between these time skips, which I like. I enjoyed those parts.
Yeah. Are you still following To Your Eternity?
No, Jaren, once it became kind of like 2 Year Eternity Future, I kind of I stopped. I think I'm gonna let that build up for a bit before I ever go back in.
I think I spent 2 nights binging up until chapter, I think it was around 140 something is when I dropped off. I don't know how many chapters they've released right now, but I think
140 is like which part?
it was like the modern era
Oh, okay.
where, yeah, I think, spoilers, slight spoilers for To Your Eternity, but essentially how our protagonist or so brings back all his friends and then they all live together in the modern era. And Matt, it was really testing my patience at that point. So I know you've read a bit more, but Does it get better from there, Matt? Or
I honestly think it stays about like the same as that
okay.
point. Yeah.
I know there was one storyline I was really intrigued, kind of at that point where um, I think the either antagonist, I guess the anti-hero at that point, where the girl has the opportunity to bring back her ghost mom, but she doesn't, and
Uh-huh.
then the ghost
Uh-huh.
mom is kind of crushed. I thought that
Mhm.
was a really good storyline, but then they kind of drop it for a few chapters, and that's when I kind of waned on actually following this manga any further. But I digress, Matt. Fall season is upon us, Matt.
Mhm.
I'm gonna watch this anime, and maybe we can talk about it next week.
Mhm.
But until then, Matt,
Mhm.
everyone check out the YouTube channel, check out the blog when the video gets posted, and see Matt's recommendations for fall 2023.
Mhm.
So, Matt,
Mhm.
I probably should have used this segue when we were talking about that old home hardware and, walking through sketchy hallways,
Uh-huh.
but
Uh-huh.
hindsight is 2020.
Mhm.
But Matt,
Mhm.
did you ever play Limbo and Inside?
I played Limbo. I don't think I played Inside.
I've played both games, but I don't know what it is about a lot of games where I'll be really into something and I'll play like the first few hours and then immediately fall off.
Uh-huh.
And I'm actually surprised that, with the exception of I guess the big twist to Inside, I've generally been spoiler free from both Inside and Limbo, at least in regards to what the ending is.
Mhm.
And the reason I bring this up is uh, the mind behind these games, Jep Carlson. He released a new game this week, which is Cocoon, which you can find on Game Pass if you're subscribed there.
Okay.
And it's also available on Steam, the Nintendo Switch, and the PlayStation platforms. But Matt,
Mhm. Mhm.
this is, it's from Jep Carlson, and I feel like after you've played Inside, you've played Limbo, you kind of know. I don't want to say you know what you're getting into, but this is another one of those puzzle exploration games. And I'm actually, when I first started up Cocoon, I was really pleasantly surprised at just its visual look. It's more isometric and it really reminds me of Journey in a sense, just kind of
Okay.
that graphic visual style. But you hatch from a cocoon and you play this Mothman, I guess,
Uh-huh.
and it's essentially you wandering these different environments, solving puzzles, getting from point A to point B, and then kind of discovering the world as you go. It's pretty simplistic in its controls. It's essentially you moving around with your controller stick and interacting with the A button.
Mhm.
And Matt,
Mhm.
I know I was trying to figure out what to say about this game. The first thing I want to tell you, Matt, I love me a game with a good walking feel. And
Mhm.
I've played through around 2 hours of Cocoon, and it's supposed to be a 4 hour game, I believe. So I think I'm like
Okay.
halfway done.
Mhm.
But I think the movement feels really good. Just walking or running around. But essentially, the main kind of, I guess, gimmick per se, I don't want to say gimmick. I feel like gimmick is too harsh of a word, but
Uh-huh.
essentially, with your puzzles, with Cocoon, you eventually start finding these orbs. And the thing with these orbs is you're able to actually go into the orbs, and it's essentially a separate world for you to explore. And there is going to be part of the puzzles where you have to go from the orb world back to the overworld world per se.
Mhm.
And eventually you're finding more orbs. At this point of the game, I have three different orbs, and the puzzles are getting more intricate in a way of, okay, maybe I need to go into the orange orb with my green orb, do something there, jump out, of the orange orb, hold my purple orb to go into the green orb. So it's that's kind of the game
Uh huh.
where
Uh
you're
huh.
juggling with these different worlds, essentially in the palm of your hand, and seeing where I need to go to solve a puzzle.
Do each of those orb worlds have their own kind of like mechanic to them, or?
Yeah, so
Oh,
so,
okay.
so say with like the orange
Uh
world,
huh.
if you have the or if you're or sorry, say you're holding the orange orb per se,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to walk on it gives you a AoE glowing radius and you're able to see say invisible paths.
Oh, I see.
Likewise, if you were holding the green orb, you're able to go to these different platforms and either raise them or lower them.
I see. I see.
So those are kind of the mechanics that are attached to them. But I
Mm-hmm.
think my favorite part about this orb world system is how seamless it is. Where once you find one of these transfer points, you're just jumping back and forth. And there's no, besides the initial loading at the beginning of the game or when you load in, it's all pretty seamless, which I feel like when you have a game where you're supposed to jump back and forth between these different worlds, and then each orb has its own distinct look and the overworld has its distinct look as well,
Mm-hmm.
where if you don't have that seamless transition, I feel like this whole experience breaks. But the fact is you're just jumping back and forth, kind of at once you're given the ability to do so. I think it works out really well. And it is a puzzle game, but there have been I've done two combat encounters where essentially there are areas where you essentially fight a boss character, and
Mm-hmm.
combat is your essential, okay, I'm dodging their attacks, I'm interacting with the world to kind of counterattack this boss. And for the most part, once you get their patterns down, once you figure out what you have to do, um, it's been a pretty enjoyable experience where it's essentially kind of like a Mario boss fight in a way where you don't necessarily attack them directly, but you're kind of, dodging and then using the worldly environment to your advantage, which I think was pretty fun as well. Um, Puzzle, but other than that, it is your typical puzzle game. I think the difficulty of the puzzles, at least in the first half of the game, is fairly pretty fair, where maybe I was kind of hard stuck on one or two puzzles and it took
Mm-hmm.
me, okay, maybe I needed a washroom break just to kind of evaluate what my surroundings are. And then, once you take a breather, you're able to kind of get a better perspective of what you have to do. But
Yeah.
now that I have three orbs, I think this is where it's getting, oh, okay, a bit more micromanagey of, okay, I need to do this here, need to jump out, grab this thing, put this here. So I'm
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hoping that puzzles aren't essentially for me, I don't want to say have like five different orbs where I have to kind of juggle all of them at the same time, jumping back and forth. Where
Mm-hmm.
I think personally for me, when it comes to puzzle games, I kind of like it when it's kind of pretty much all laid out in front of you. So you don't have, and it doesn't have too many components, because I think once you have too many components, that kind of borderlines into frustration for me. But
Mm-hmm.
at least for the first half of Cocoon, I think it's been, fairly, the puzzle design has been really well. Makes you feel good about solving a puzzle. And it just looks nice, man. It just looks nice. But that's Cocoon, available on the platforms right now, also on Game Pass. And Matt, this is definitely one of those titles where I wish Game Pass natively worked on the Steam Deck, because this is such a good Steam Deck game.
Ah, I
Just
see.
something bite sized. You do one or two puzzles and then hop out.
Mm-hmm.
Where, yeah, it's a fun puzzle game. But there's also one thing I wanted to kind of bring up to you, Matt.
Okay.
And what do you think about, I feel like it's ingrained in video game culture right now, but what do you think about I guess a boss fight and you having to do essentially three attacks to them to finish the fight, where essentially, what do you think of the rule of threes when it comes to boss fights in video games?
I kind of like it, to be honest, because like the first hit is always like, okay, like maybe you lucked into it. The second one, you for sure know what you're doing, and then the third one is
Yeah.
just like like yeah, I got you down. I actually, Jaren, I hate it when I feel like a fight should have been a rule of three, but it's like a rule of
Okay.
5 or 7
Right,
or
right.
something, and I don't know. I think that's just like miserable. But I really kind of like the rule of three.
So at least in Cocoon, it does follow the it's your typical rule of three, but
Hmm.
after each hit, the environments get a bit more hectic, but at the same time, it's the same mechanic that you use to attack it, just a different environmental hazards that you have to kind of keep track of. But yeah, Cocoon,
Hmm.
it's a fun puzzle game. Really do recommend. Love the visuals. Love the seamless jumping in and out of worlds. But again, Matt,
Hmm.
I feel like with Limbo, with Inside, you're kind of conditioned to expect some sort of twist towards the end. So I think that's also a reason why I want to keep playing just to see, oh, does this have a twist? Just because there are some aspects of, let's say, the overworld that is so like its visuals contrast so much compared to all the orb worlds I've been into so far, where I kind of want to get to know what the overworld actually is. And at the same time, you have all of these different Matt, it's one of those puzzle games where I hate to say it, but you'll be given like a fork in the road, and if you go to one side, you'll probably find I think they're called like guardians that you have to find, and each time you find a guardian, that gives you an achievement.
Hmm.
But Matt,
Hmm.
sometimes I've picked the wrong route and it's locked me out of going back to check the other route because it just progressed to the next like puzzle.
Damn.
That always feels bad, man. That always
Hmm.
feels bad.
Hmm.
But yes, that's why I need a second playthrough of it eventually,
Hmm.
just to chase those achievements. But yeah, Cocoon, do recommend it if you're into that, into puzzle games, or you've liked Jeff Carlson's games in the past. I feel like there's definitely something there for puzzle game fans. So Matt,
Hmm.
speaking about games that begin with the letter C,
Uh-huh.
I've been playing some Cyberpunk 2077, specifically kind of early game,
Hmm.
just really experiencing what the 2.0 update has to offer, which you not necessarily briefly, but you did go into last week.
Yes.
But now that I have had, I don't know, how many hours have I put into this so far? Matt, I have currently 17 hours on the Steam version. In terms of progression, I've just saved Evelyn
Uh-huh.
from the Scav hideout, and now I'm killing time until Mr. Hands has an update for me for the Voodoo Boys.
Hmm.
But Matt,
Hmm.
as someone who loved the cheesy Netrunner style of the original of vanilla Cyberpunk,
Yes.
Matt,
Hmm.
they really gutted Netrunning, where a lot of the design choices make sense, especially having a enemy Netrunner trying to trace you.
Hmm.
But I don't know about you, Matt, but to me it feels kind of broken in a way where essentially, at least early game, I feel like trying to play a stealthy Netrunner really is difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily relying on, what I did in the original game, which is okay, I'm going to hack a camera, I'm going to scroll through all the different cameras, and I'm just going to upload quick hacks into everyone I see.
Hmm.
Here it's essentially okay, I'm just going to use cameras to mark everyone and I need to just stealth grab them at this point, where
Yeah.
I'm now playing Hitman or Metal Gear Solid, and I'm not playing my cheesy hacker build to the point where I'm really considering just installing a mod that takes out uh, enemy tracing, just because
Uh-huh.
I like net runners being able to trace you in theory, but let's say there was like a Night City PD area that I want to clear out.
Hmm.
I'll scroll through the cameras and then I'll see essentially who is the net runner. and then I'll get to them first. But at that point, their tracing continues to be uploaded or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll keep scrolling. Okay, maybe there's like a second netrunner, but there doesn't seem to be another netrunner where even with the perk that I did also pick the perk that says, oh, when you're kind of being targeted by the netrunner, you can hack them through walls. But
Hmm.
at that point, I'm already made where I don't think it's worth it for how I want to play essentially, where I don't want to be kind of in a situation where I'm discovered. I kind of want to try to eliminate them all at once. And I know you told me that eventually I'm going to get quick hacks that are untraceable,
Hmm.
but early game, I feel like it's such. As someone who has experience with vanilla Cyberpunk, it's so jarring to try to play that playstyle here as
Yeah.
opposed to someone coming in fresh. But yeah, I don't know what it is where I feel like every encounter there's a netrunner and for the most part, even if I deal with the netrunner first, I need to kill everyone else in that area. And at that point, it's why am I not just playing a Sandy? I have a Sandy equip. I can just blade everyone or just use an assault rifle. Where I, I think that's the only thing I'm disappointed with so far with my time with Cyberpunk is
Hmm.
I'm so used to how I played in vanilla, and now that the new skill trees, even though they look cool, really don't let you play that style. And of course, it's cheesy. Of course, it was broken. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of the builds in Cyberpunk ended up being broken in some capacity. But that's kind of just me, Matt. And as someone who plays, I'm trying to do a lot more stealth now. Matt, I don't understand why dumping a body in a bin or a car trunk is considered lethal. But that's just me, Matt. That's just me.
Yeah, I didn't understand that
Uh,
either.
but yeah, Matt, with you playing a lot more Cyberpunk since last week, are you still trying to experience? Have you continued with net running, or are you exploring something else now?
No, I continue with net running. I found
Hmm.
that later on, like you mentioned that I told you before, you get kind of two skills, or two quick hacks that are at a higher tier, a lot better. The first is memory wipe, which
All right.
anything in the quick hack queue you put in after memory wipe does not affect your trace value, and it becomes untraceable. And the other is sonic shock, which makes it so that an enemy, while they have like this debuff on them, doesn't alert their allies. So you can
Okay.
at that point kind of just freely hack them and kill them without raising any of your like trace value.
I, what level are you right now in Cyberpunk?
Right now I think like mid 40s right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think looking up it, a lot of options really do open up when you're level 40, but unfortunately, I'm still level
Yeah.
10.
I think 30
So,
is when
yeah.
you get access to tier 4 stuff.
Okay.
So I would expect like that's when you can start doing a lot more stealth net running.
All right. But until then, I think it's just physical stealth for me and then
Mm-hmm.
accidentally doing lethal and dumping everyone into bins.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
with Cyberpunk, the release of Phantom Liberty, I guess the only major DLC component to Cyberpunk will be getting.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me previous to recording, that you've put some hours into Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
And so I guess my first question to you, Matt, since I haven't really looked into it, when does Phantom Liberty kind of open up to players?
It opens up to the it opens up to players after you do the Voodoo Boys stuff. Honestly,
Okay.
it's basically right at the point of no return is when
Oh,
you
really?
can start doing the Phantom Liberty stuff,
Oh, okay.
which was
And
weird because I thought it
yeah.
was going to be a lot earlier.
So you've been playing Phantom Liberty, and
Hmm.
this has a new area to it. I believe it's
Yes,
Dogtown, correct?
it's
Or
Dogtown, which is like I think a little bit past where Pacifica is.
okay.
And
So, Matt, what are your first impressions after playing some of the Phantom Liberty DLC?
Jared, my first impression of Phantom Liberty is, man, this is a very long intro sequence.
Really?
If you have anything that you kind of like want to get done before Phantom Liberty, because I thought I would be able to start Phantom Liberty, kind of just like do whatever the intro stuff is real quick, and then go out and do whatever side stuff I want to do, and then touch Phantom Liberty whenever I want it. But when you drop into Phantom Liberty, you're kind of locked into Phantom Liberty for, I'd say, an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of content time.
Right.
So I think like that's just something to be aware of.
Okay.
But that hour and a half to 2 hours of content is actually like very, very, very good. It has a lot of unique moments that I feel like I hadn't experienced in Cyberpunk before. And within there's actually like two moments that actually made me run out of ammo, which
Huh.
I think was like probably like the first time that ever happened to me in Cyberpunk during a mission.
So, do you have to go guns a blazing, or like is Phantom Liberty more, I guess, combat oriented, or
Um,
could you use your could you see people being able to say stealth their way or like talk their way or stuff like that?
there is a part where you aren't able to stealth. Did you watch the opening cinematic for Phantom Liberty, Sharon?
I did not.
Ah, okay. Uh, I don't know how spoilery I want to get into it, but
Okay. Uh, as much as you can, I guess.
yeah. So in the opening cinematic for Phantom Liberty that they kind of just like posted on the YouTube channel or as the trailer for Phantom Liberty, basically a plane holding the one of the main characters of Phantom Liberty gets shot out of the sky and it crash lands in Night City. So that whole part is like loud because you're trying to like get to that like plane to help the, I guess, like the DLC characters within there. So that's not a
Okay.
part that you're going to be able to do quiet, and you are like kind of like escorting around a VIP for that section, so you are getting chased down by other people who want that VIP.
Right. Okay.
So that part is going to go get them is loud. Leaving their area the first time is loud, and then you can kind of go into stealth. But there are some like instances of forced loud in there.
Okay. So, with a cool intro out of the way, how is Dogtown as a area, and how does it compare to kind of the scenery, the other scenery from Night City and Cyberpunk as a whole?
So Dogtown itself is very run down. It is very much like a kind of like a lot more of a worse version of Pacifica, like worse in terms of like how everything is held up. It is kind of like they built Night City the normal way, and then they kind of like hit it with, I don't know, wrecking balls every so often. So it is a very like dilapidated area. I think an interesting thing about the area is that it's much more condensed than Night City, or everything is closer together. So it's not a car oriented area. It's much more of a running oriented area, which I think is
Okay.
interesting.
Would you say Dogtown's a lot more vertical as well compared to other regions?
I don't know if it's necessarily a lot more vertical. I say it's about like the same kind of verticality that you expect in within like the Japantown area.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's that
Right, right.
level of verticality, but like across all of Dogtown, which I think is pretty
Man,
nice.
I still get lost in Japantown.
Yeah, same, same, same. Sort
Okay.
of got some bearings in there, but there is still a lot of Japantown that I just like. Oh, I'm here again.
Right. Okay.
But
And sorry, with Dogtown itself, do you find that there, I guess with the DLC in general, is it a lot of just story stuff, or is there also like an abundance of side content for you to explore as well? Just because I think right now, one thing I forgot about original Cyberpunk that I'm
Hmm.
seeing right now is, sure, you can kind of beeline the main storylines, with Judy or Evelyn or Takamura, but at the same time, you open up the map, there's so many exclamation points for you to
Uh huh.
discover and find.
Uh huh.
And even that can get overwhelming of not knowing what to do, even when the game forces you and says, hey, do something else right now. Is that the same thing for Dogtown and like the DLC? Or
I don't think I can really say just yet. I think really I have only like maybe 3 hours, maybe 4 hours within
okay,
of experience within the Phantom Liberty DLC. So it has been very story heavy for me, just because like they
okay,
are establishing, characters and plot and stuff. But I don't
okay, fair
like
enough.
they did introduce um a new job type, which is car delivery, where
Oh,
basically there will every so often they'll just like spawn a car that you can deliver to a kind of like chop shop. When you steal the car, you're gonna get like chased down by some kind of other gang. You have to get rid of them inside the while you're doing this car chase, which I think is probably why they really upgraded the car shooting mechanics or driving mechanics. And
man,
then you kind of like,
driving still doesn't feel good,
oh really? You don't like? I thought
in
it
my opinion. I don't
felt
like.
better.
I feel like even the motorcycles are worse than I remember, but
Oh
maybe
damn.
that's just me. But
Okay.
yeah,
But like, yeah, you kind of go through a car fight, and then you deliver it to a chop shop, and you're, kind of just get a reward out of that. And I kind of like those missions.
yeah,
Um, I like Dogtown is very interesting to drive around in because, like I said, it's very small. Even in game, they do compare it a lot to a European style town, where it's a
right.
very tight roads and everything. So doing stuff in there with a car is actually an interesting kind of drive through.
Okay. And of course, Matt,
Hmm.
I have to ask, how's Idris Elba in the DLC?
I like his character. I don't know if he's going to betray me or not.
Oh, you hate to see it, Matt. You hate to see
Uh
it.
huh. He's one of those
How heavily
characters.
featured is he so far?
Um, you don't see him for like that first opening mission thing. I
Okay.
actually maybe have only seen him for like 30 minutes. But
Right.
at that time, like
Okay.
I think they established his character pretty well. And Jaren, see, okay, the thing is, I think watching that trailer for Phantom Liberty, it's putting some ideas into my head about like what Idris Elba's uh I guess character is going to do,
Okay.
because me as Matt Alba, I know stuff that happened to his character that V doesn't
Oh, okay.
at that point, so I'm interested in seeing where that goes.
Right. Okay. That's
Hmm.
pretty good.
Hmm.
Well, so you've broken down your experience with the DLC so far, and have to ask Matt,
Uh-huh.
just in general, you put in some hours to Cyberpunk.
Yes.
Any adventures that have happened to you since we last spoke?
No, Jared, I think this game's like pretty. The game has been cyberpunk this whole time. I don't think anything like
Yeah.
very outlandish has happened to me, especially since I was really kind of just going through. One thing I did notice uh after I kind of completed all the character missions for like River, for Judy, for Pan Am and all of them, is that they're a lot more talkative than I remember. Like they text very often, and I don't remember them doing that when I was originally playing Cyberpunk.
Oh man, I'm excited just to see how much it has changed and if that's something I kind of noticed. But
Mm-hmm.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
I've been also trying to play Cyberpunk on my Steam Deck,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like one. Um, so the first time I ran it on the Steam Deck, like hard crashed my Steam Deck, like had to hard,
Makes sense.
reboot it.
Uh-huh.
And then when I finally got it working, I had to play it. So essentially, when you go through the different, graphical presets, there's one dedicated to the Steam Deck,
Mm-hmm.
and I still had to tinker with it. Just I think even there it defaults the Steam Deck settings default a lot of things to high still, where
Mm-hmm.
I had to kind of go in and adjust it to with some lows, some mediums. But after I did that, it works pretty like it works relatively well on the Steam Deck. No real complaints,
Mm-hmm.
but when I first booted it up on my PC and then I ran the benchmark, uh, Matt, the
Mm-hmm.
benchmark gave me like 20 frames per second. So I
Damn.
had to like go into that and tinker around just to kind of make sure. It's the debate of do I want to hover around 60 with settings on high, or do I want to hover around, 120 with stuff on medium. So I think that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of playing around right now. But for the most part, I am getting a constant 60. But
Mm-hmm.
Matt, how's Cyberpunk running for you overall?
Oh, it's running pretty well for me. Like I have been aiming for the 60 at high end of
Right.
that sort of thing, and Jaren, this game looks a lot prettier than I remember. Like
Yes.
especially those moments where they kind of like have you talking to a different NPC, but in a way where
Hmm.
that NPC is forcing you to kind of look at Night City as like a really nice backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's I don't know, Jaren. This time around, it's like really working. It's kind of like sense of wonder onto me.
No, I totally agree. And I love those shots where it will kind of cut to the end of the mission, we'll say a few hours later, and it's kind of just you looking at like the cityscape or the horizon, and
Mm-hmm.
really it does look gorgeous in parts. And I just love even talking to people and just seeing how well they look in this game. But Matt,
Mm-hmm.
if I do have one complaint, this game, at least by default, is so dark.
Yes,
Where
yes.
I remember, so I just finished the mission where we rescue, Evelyn,
Mm-hmm.
and so my current desk setup, Matt, is my desk faces a window. So if I play in the afternoon, even with like my blinds closed,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of hard to see. And even when I was playing kind of early in the morning, I got to the part where you go into the basement of, that scav hideout or that power plant. And that
Mm-hmm.
it was so dark, I couldn't see where I was going to the
Yeah.
point where I had to. And I think the best you can do is kind of the gamma, stuff, where when my game didn't tell me I had to press L3 on the settings menu to kind of access that,
Oh, okay.
where it's kind of weird where I saw someone on Reddit post that's what you're supposed to do. I hit L3, played around with the brightness, and then it became like an option where it tells me, okay, press L3 to access your gamma stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember doing that in that part of the mission where it was like pitch black all around me. I can only see like one light shining light on the graffiti. And then when I adjusted the brightness per se, I just realized, oh, I'm like boxed in like, with a cage fence like around me. And I didn't even see that just because it was all black.
Uh-huh.
But Matt, how bright is your game right now? And are you running into anything similar?
Jaren, I initially kind of did need to adjust my gamma. There was, I can't remember which mission, but it was one of the ones where you're kind of like sneaking into a hideout and I couldn't see anything. So I kind of did have to go through the gamma dance, but it's not so bad for me right now. I think I kind of like hit a nice kind of medium on where I want to be. I think the thing that disappoints me the most, Sharon, is that for some reason I can't activate the HDR within Cyberpunk itself. For me,
Right, right.
it's showing that it's just not available on my monitor, even though I know that my monitor is like an HDR monitor, and I don't know what's
Oh,
going on
that's
with that.
weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I need to look into that as well. I think normally I wanted to like play around with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I was trying to play with my settings, everyone was like, "Oh, you should probably like turn it off." I was like, "But I have a monitor that can utilize this, so
Uh huh.
I don't know." But yeah, uh, have to ask Matt, any jank for you in your playtime recently?
No, nothing like that's like really really bad. Like it's the usual stuff of, oh no, this guy, I can't like open this door, so now I can't loot this guy because he died in the car,
Right.
or kind of like just small stuff like that.
I think for me, the only real janky moment was when I was in the Clouds Club and I was talking to Woodman and I accidentally aggroed him after he pours himself a drink. And then all of a sudden, like, he just ragdolls and does like a 360 in the air, ragdolling. And then he immediately cuts to him standing still and then he takes out his weapon and starts shooting me. So I think that was the only thing I really ran into. But other than that, yeah, pretty smooth sailing. It's still Cyberpunk. Still getting my bearings, especially with the new net running stuff. I know our pal Julian is playing more of an like aggressive sand. He has a Sandy installed, Santa Vista or whatever it's called, and he's playing with the katana, which not my inner weeb. I should probably do so, but I
Jared,
love me some stealth.
Jared, I
What's up?
just got to the point where I was able to kind of fully level my reflex tree, and I
Yeah,
fully unlocked the dash and the air dash.
right.
Jared, that is so fun. The kind of
Okay.
speed that you get, I think, is like comparable to like a car for like short distances. Like
All
it's a
right.
really really fun play style.
When I hit mid 40s, man, I'm gonna ask for your build so I
Uh
know what
huh.
to do. But right now, I think I'm like level 10, man. I just put everything into intelligence,
Yeah, I think
so
like I
that's
was
me.
pure intelligence for a very long time.
But yeah, Matt, Cyberpunk, still enjoying it. I love. So I'm playing as female V.
Hmm.
I really do love the voice actress. Sh really giving me. I really like the range she has, but at the same time, I'm also noticing those moments where Cyberpunk's such a big game. There's so much dialogue choices where it sticks out to me where, say, you're conversing with someone, you do some blue text, and kind of the different blue text has varying degrees of emotion, if you know
Hmm.
what I mean,
Hmm.
where I'll pick one option and like V will be chill, and then in the other, it's like she's super angry.
Uh huh.
But it's one of those things where it also kind of seems like they were recorded in separate, voice acting sessions, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, where
Yeah.
there you can kind of tell that there's something different about these two lines of dialogue. And
Hmm.
it doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, it kind of throws me off.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been noticing that as well.
But yeah, that's some cyberpunk. Matt, anything else you want to mention from your adventures in Night City?
I'm surprised Keanu Reeves is in Phantom Liberty. Uh, at the very start of kind of like Phantom Liberty, he Johnny Silverhand's character kind of just gets like disabled for a bit, and I thought, oh, I guess they couldn't get Keanu Reeves for this DLC,
Yeah,
but he does come back, and he is, I'm assuming, still voiced by Keanu Reeves.
yeah. Does he have a lot of new dialogue or?
Yeah, it is a lot of like new dialogue within the Phantom Liberty stuff. Like he does comment a
Mhm.
lot.
Okay,
Hmm.
that's good to hear.
Hmm.
It's good to hear, Matt. Yeah, I'm excited just to keep playing. I'll be in the vicinity of the Saturday Morning Arcade Clubhouse this upcoming weekend, so
Yeah.
I don't know, Matt. I as much as I do want to play more Cyberpunk, I don't know if I can play Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck. So
Hmm.
who knows what else I can play until then. But
Hmm.
this has surprisingly been a beefy episode of the Mistake Zone.
Yeah.
Matt,
Hmm.
want to thank you as always for joining me this week and editing not only the pod but the upcoming what to check out for the fall season 2023 anime.
Jaren, I want to thank you for hosting this episode and not dying when you went to go buy a chair.
Thanks, man. Uh, I too want to thank lumbar support. I want to thank drink bars. I want to thank Cocoons. And I want to thank Judy. Thanks, Judy. Matt, do you like the brain dance like stuff?
Jaren, I
when
hate the
you
brain
have to
dance
do-
stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jaren, it's such a drag
Yeah.
to do.
Man,
Oh,
having
man.
to do. Yeah.
Jaren, I don't know if you remember River's storyline in
I do.
Jaren, the part where you're doing the brain dance to figure out where the kind of like barn is.
Yeah.
I forgot that thing is like 4 back-to-back brain dances, and every time I got to the end of one of those brain dances, I was like, nice, I can leave. But it just kept happening, Jaren. Just kept happening.
River, like, of all the, companion characters that you meet throughout your journey in Night City, like, Rivers is the one I'm not looking forward to just because, yeah, that brain dance, I remember playing that for the first time and thinking, I really don't want to play this anymore. But I kind of liked his character overall,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just those brain dances, man. It's just those brain dances. But yeah, Matt, I want to thank some fall season anime, and I also want to thank Wallet Coon and apologize in advance after I buy all this merch. But until then, Matt, please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of healthy Wallet Coon.